What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Thanks for tuning in. Today in this video, guys, I want to show you a couple of tools, tips, and tricks you guys can use when analyzing a project. This will be like tokenomics, community metrics, and a couple of other miscellaneous things you guys can use. We're going to give a couple of examples so you guys can grasp this, but let's go ahead and get into it. The first you guys want to analyze is community metrics. There are three things you want to ask yourself about the community. The first is, how active is the community? Now, is it something like Phantom or is it a game? There are different things you guys want to look at. And there are some other metrics you want to look at as well. Let's go ahead and take, for example, Phantom. And we're going to go ahead and look at their Telegram. Of course, you have to take into consideration their Telegram and their Discord. So we're going to look at both of these. So as you guys can see here, this is the Phantom Discord. You can see they have 6,073 online out of 46,000 members. You can take a look at their Telegram as well. It's got about 1,782 out of 30,000. So the Telegram probably sitting you back at around 6%, whereas the Discord is around 8 to 9%. Now, that's really not that bad for a community like Phantom or like a DeFi protocol, because most people don't really need to join those. However, when you have something like a game like Axie Infinity or DeFi Kingdoms, you probably want to look for about 18 to 20%. If you see a game that has like 2 or 5% people, or even less, like 10%, you don't really want to touch that game because most of it is just either A, bots, B, people are just coming in there, pumping and dumping, joining just like Wind Moon and gonna dump on everything. Just things like that. It's fake metrics. You don't want to be a part of that. That's why I go by the online to the total members. This is just a little metric that I came up with, and it actually has done very well for me. Like for example, with DeFi Kingdoms, it actually showed me how active the community was, and that's why I started in DeFi Kingdoms back when I did. You guys can check out some of the couple of the other videos so you guys can see what's up with that. If you guys want to see what I'm doing in the markets and other projects I'm looking at right now before they're even on YouTube, there's a link in the description below. You guys can join the Discord and see what I'm doing in the markets as well as others. Now, that's the first part of the community metrics. That is the community activity. Second is, how is the team's experience? You can also use things like GitHub to see how active the developer activity is. Like for example, Phantom, 11 hours ago, 22 hours ago, yesterday. They're very active on Phantom. But how are the developers on there? Are they just like, yeah, we just know how to fork a bunch of projects. We just know how to do this, and this. Probably something you don't want to be a part of. It's just a bunch of copy pasta that is just there for the yield incentives. It'll be there while the yield's there, but when the yield is gone, what will be there? I like Phantom because I've seen the technology and innovation there. The same thing with Cosmos. You go on those dApps and those protocols and you feel something different. It doesn't feel like, oh man, everyone's here for the money. It's more so, well, yeah, some people are there for the money, but you have a different feeling. It's like these guys are trying to develop something and create a system without banks. It's a game changer. It's crazy. Let me give you an example. Look at Cosmos. Cosmos has a massive amount of TVL just on osmosis alone. There's more coming over. Let's take, for example, Cosmos. Look at two of the main projects, Luna and Osmosis. Yes, there are some others like Thorchain and JunoSwap. There's other ones as well, but let's just use these two as an example. Luna is just killing it on the DeFi Llama ranks. I'm just going to go ahead and show you guys the chains. It's literally right behind Ethereum. Look, it's second. It passed Binance Smart Chain. Oh yeah, and Binance Coin, that's built on Cosmos too. Not Binance Smart Chain, but the Binance chain, the BET2. There's actually two separate chains if you guys did not know that. But they are just destroying it. And same thing with Osmosis. All this is literally a swapper, and it's number 11. It's like, what the snap? It's crazy. But that explains the activity and the development that's going on in the Cosmos ecosystem. They have no main liquidity mining incentive coming from the Cosmos ecosystem. It's not like, hey, we're giving out $100 million worth of atoms just so you guys can come over and test our chain and farm and just come over here and Ponzi farm. They aren't even doing that. They're just building and people are coming. That is what's so bullish about the Cosmos ecosystem. You guys constantly see different developers creating different things. And one of my favorites is Sunny. This guy is non-stop working, man. He's working on superfluid staking. He's working on osmosis. He created the best clean, sleek UI, in my opinion. Also was working with IBC. This guy is constantly working. He's even taking like the Ion token and trying to make synthetics with it. He's trying to bring more and more value to the Cosmos ecosystem. That's what I want to get behind. I want to look for developers that are doing that. I'm not throwing anyone under the wind, but let's just take, for example, Tron. What developers over there are actually creating something? I can't answer this question because I don't know. So I was hoping you guys can answer it. But maybe someone can leave it in the comments below. How is the community? Like, are they like, when I buy it? Next is, how is the community? Is it like, I'm just buying this coin so I can dump on everyone when I make a 2x, or win moon, win this, win pump, or win airdrop, like just junk like that. That is a community you don't want to be a part of. They're just in it for the money. When the money leaves, they leave. When they leave, someone else leaves. When they also leave, the community leaves. The community is the people. But if you have people there are like, hey, I really think we should create a protocol that allows us to borrow against our NFTs so that can unlock some liquidity so we can take these tokens and use these tokens in DeFi. And I really think what we should do for our dApp is be able to borrow against our LP tokens, because our LP tokens are earning a yield, but we can't do anything with them. It's money in our wallet, but why can't we borrow against it? So let's create a dApp that allows you to borrow against your LP tokens. Now you're able to use some tokens that you can use in a liquid market while you're still participating in DeFi. Or better yet, hey, why don't we create liquid staking? Because we realize that if we have all this DeFi and people can earn a 50% yield on Atom, or 90%, whatever, and staking it only earns you 14, that's going to be a problem, because if everyone goes to DeFi and no one's securing the network or the Cosmos hub, what's going to happen? Oh, well, it could be vulnerable to hacks. So creating something like superfluid staking or liquid staking will allow you to stake your Cosmos coin and you can use it in DeFi. So you get the best of both worlds. That's just some things I'm mentioning and just using as examples of like, look, this is innovation we look for, and you can see other people chatting about it in these Discords and Telegrams. You need to get into those and figure out how the community is. Now, next is pretty simple, but this is tokenomics. Now, I'm going to break it down pretty simple for a couple of these, but the biggest is like, okay, is it infinite inflation? Is it capped? Is it finite? You just need to know the supply schedule and how much it is. Let's use an example of Curve. We already know this coin is just being pumped out like nuts and ham, but it at least has a use case. So it's okay to an extent that it has a very high inflation schedule, because we understand that when you use Curve and you want to participate in the gauges, you need to stake and lock your Curve for you to earn more Curve. It's just how the VE tokenomics work. So you can see that constant, I guess you can say, kick the can down the road, because people are farming the Curve, they're giving it back to Curve to lock it up to earn more Curve, which they then take that new earn Curve and lock it up again and repeat the process. Now let's give a bad example. Internet Computer Protocol. This thing literally is at a crazy inflation schedule. This came from in June to what's now, January. This thing literally doubled in supply, almost doubled in supply. It came from like 130 million to almost 200 million. So, okay, yeah, it's not a full double in supply, but it's still an increase in about to almost 60%. That's a lot. That's a high inflation, and that's not even the full year. The full year at this rate, it would be 120%. Now, that's a lot of tokens. I mean, if you just think about it. Now, that's not even factoring how the supply schedule was. Let's go ahead and take a look at the distribution. I'm going to shrink my face so you guys can see. Okay, so we can see the Definity Foundation got 23%. We also had investors that had 7%. Let's just call it 30. Then we had seed donations, so another 24. So let's just call that 54. Then we had some team members, another 18. So let's just go ahead and call that 72. And then yeah, you basically look at a couple of other smaller ones, but you can see, let's just call Internet Computer Association, we'll call that as well. So basically, 76% of these tokens went to insiders, the foundation, and the team, whereas 24%, barely 24%, went to the community. Like these are early contributors, so you can consider those insiders. So probably even less than that. I mean, just being on the safe side, I would say five, no, not even 5%. The only fair amount of tokens that were given out is less than 1%. I mean, come on. Less than 1% of these tokens were given out to the community. Now, what does this mean for the price action? Let's just go and show you ICP. ICP, let's show you the price action because of these type of tokenomics. And there's really no use case for the coin. Oh man, I think I should flip this chart upside down. It would look so much better. Yeah, that doesn't look good. But anyways, that's what you can understand from the token supply schedules and how those actually have an effect with it. Now let's show you Curve, for example. This is a typical farming coin. Curve has a very fast and rapid inflationary schedule. It's got a lot of tokens pumping out, but you can see this is what it was in the beginning. It didn't really have much of a use case, and then the VE curve model started to catch wind. Now you're starting to see a nice pumpage. If we get rid of the max and we just call it a year, you guys can see this chart actually looks somewhat healthy. Actually, we will get rid of the max and we will go from, let's see, August, September. Let's do September 1st. As you guys can see, this actually doesn't look that bad of a chart because it actually found its bottom. So that's another thing to understand with these farming coins. If you guys look at my old farming rules and the old videos I used to make, the number one rule was don't buy the farming coin. Don't buy what you can earn. You can earn this coin. I mean, sure, if you want to buy it, go for it, but understand the risks that you're taking. Because, well, right now, all-time high, $54, and you're down 93%. But if you're farming the coin and it went down, it's actually free money. So you really don't care. It's just opportunity cost at that point in time. Now, what is the token used for? Now I just gave you Curve as an example. It has a good flywheel effect. I farm Curve. I use my Curve to lock it up in Curve to earn more Curve, which I then re-lock. So am I really getting paid by Curve if I'm paying it all back to them? That's the kicking the can down the road. That is the sticky tokenomics of the Curve. Now, let's give an example of a Ponzi farm. You deposit some stable coins and you farm some coin called a pizza coin or whatever you want to call it. What's the use case for pizza? Oh, well, you can stake pizza to earn pizza. Okay. And then what do I do with that pizza? Well, you could stake it to earn more pizza. Okay. Then what? Oh, you can have governance. You can have governance over our pizza protocol and vote what we do. Okay, so what does that entail? Oh, well, you can vote for more pools. You can do that. Okay, basically what you need to get down to is, do you want to make decisions for a dead project or a project that no one cares about? Now, let me show you the sticking demand for a Curve. You can see the Curve TVL has about $20 million, or let's just call it 19 million. Now, a lot of people see that as very powerful because if you have the Curve token, you can direct this liquidity with the incentives and you can send it where you need. Now, this is very important for projects because this brings more liquidity to the projects. So being a governance holder to make decisions for a project like this would be more important than something like a pizza farm, which is controlling maybe like $1 million worth of liquidity, which really isn't much at all. So that's how you can understand it. Now, another thing is how the token was distributed. I showed you guys ICP, how the distribution schedule is. So this one is a little more complex for like altcoins and different coins in general. But typically when you have a farming coin, most of the liquidity incentives just go to the people farming the coin. Yes, there is a portion that probably will go to the team, the devs. And they could have had a early pre-sale. You just need to figure out what the tokenomics were in the token distribution. You can simply ask in Telegram, Discord, or just simply just look in the white paper. Those are very easy metrics to find. And of course, you can also just go on Etherscan. If you go on Etherscan, well, this is for for Etherscan. This is the current token distribution. You guys can see who holds what. For other tokens, it would be on like Phantom Scan or any others. If you have this little contract thing, that just means it's a contract. Like for example here, voting escrow, oh, they got 25%. Well, that's just the contract for people to deposit. That doesn't necessarily mean it's a individual wallet. To see what the individual wallets are, you can click on this wallet and then you can kind of get a understanding like, hey, what's in here? Oh, claim reward. Okay, so this is probably some guy's actual wallet. Now, I'm kind of curious to see what his reward was. Nice. $40,000. What a bribe. That's amazing. But anyways, that's just how you guys can understand that. Now, Curve, it has a rapid inflationary schedule. You can almost call it infinite, but it does have a cap at 3 billion, so I've heard. But it has a flywheel. So theoretically, you can call it like an infinite inflation right now because it's a very inflationary coin, but it has the flywheel effect. I farm Curve, lock Curve to earn more Curve, to take that Curve to farm Curve, and so on. Now, I want to talk to you guys about a couple of other metrics. The very first one is, where is the value coming from? Is it coming from you? Is it from providing a service, a game, etc.? Where is the value coming from? I'm going to give you an example of a reflection token. Basically, these tokens work off taxes and they also work off different trades that you make. So basically, you're getting money from the other users. What do I mean by this? Well, let's take, for example, I don't know, SafeMoon. If I trade SafeMoon, it's like a 10 or 15% tax. I don't even know what the tax is because I don't even mess with that junk. But basically, I swap it and the tax, the fees, they go to other holders, stakers, and a portion goes to the devs. Now, when something like that happens, that just means that in order for the game to keep playing and for me to get more SafeMoon, other people have to lose their money. So it's basically a zero-sum game. And the casino is always getting some of the money. The casino would be considered the devs. So if there's no new people coming in and we learn that the value is basically coming from me trading or someone else trading, then I realize that if I keep playing this casino game and no one comes in, we keep going around and around and around. Eventually, the devs will have all the money. That's what you can understand for the reflections tokens. Now, let's give an example of something simple like staking. Now, I stake my Cosmos tokens to earn more Cosmos. Where's the yield coming from? Well, it's actually diluting all the shareholders who are not staking. So if you're not staking your Cosmos coins, or at least getting a yield to outpace the inflation rate, then you're getting diluted. Yes, you are. It's just like the dollar. If you're just holding your dollars at the United States, or like from the United States, they're being inflated away. If you aren't putting your dollar to work, buying assets, real estate, or playing in DeFi, whatever, building a different yield, then you are getting diluted. It's the same exact thing with other currencies. I know some are like, well, you know what? Bitcoin's better because it's just better. There's 21 million. Yeah, I know. It's 21 million. It's great. I do like that as well. But there's a reason you have an inflation schedule. What's going to incentivize the Bitcoin miners in, I don't know, 2140 or whenever the last block is mined? Well, it's going to be the fees. Okay, well, if I have digital gold or if I have gold, I've never, ever gone to the store and said, here, take my piece of gold and let me buy that. I don't use my digital gold. So I'm not going to be paying fees. And I'm sure other people, they won't be using their gold. They aren't going to be paying fees. If there's no rewards coming out, well, who's going to be incentivizing the miners? Are we just going to give them tips? And the few people that do, are they going to be paying like thousands of dollars just to transfer, I don't know, $1,000 worth of Bitcoin? Whatever. You got to think that stuff through. There's a reason for inflation. It keeps an economy going and it allows things to move along. Now, too much inflation is bad. So it's a fine line. You have to figure out what the right schedule is. Just wanted to give you that example of staking. Now, the last one or another one is a game. Now, where's the yield coming from? Well, let's take, for example, Axie Infinity, the SLP token. How the pants is that coin still at least worth a penny if everyone is just dumping it? Well, there is a use case for SLP. You actually use SLP to breed with other Axies. It's needed for breeding in order to keep playing the game and get higher level Axies. So there is your use case. The yield is coming from someone else buying that coin or buying SLP in order to breed and play the game. As long as you understand where the money is coming from and you're okay with that, then you can play the game. You have to look at all these currencies, projects, farms, etc. as different games that you should choose if you want to play them or not. Second, is the token liquid enough to trade? Now, I know I'm going to get hated on for this. There's a couple of Hexicans that watch this channel. I'm not making any comment about Hex. I just want to show you guys this one metric. Everyone's always like, oh, there's no slippage. It's amazing. I got like $10 million with a Hex. Well, that's great, Johnny. Go try to trade it. See what happens. You're going to lose 12.3%. So you swap that 10 million into 8.7 million. Now you're like, well, that's okay. I got 8.7 million instead of 10 million. And I'm like, okay, well, have fun with that. When you could have held something like Ethereum or like a Bitcoin and you swap $10 million worth of Ethereum and your slippage is only $42,000. So would you rather lose $42,000 or 1.3 million? That's up to you to decide. Just wanted to give you guys that example. Because if you go to Hex, we're just going to show you guys this trading volume. This is a very important metric you guys need to look at. Because if you have a token that literally has a multi-billion-dollar market cap, I mean, this thing is at least $100 billion in market cap. This is how you can get it. 20 cents times 577 billion tokens. You're going to get a market cap of over $100 billion. How the pants do you only have $24 million in trading? I mean, seriously. Like, look, let's just go to another type of Ponzi, is Strong. Look at Strong Nodes. Strong Nodes is a $104 million market cap, and they have an 11 million trading volume. Let's just say they're 200 million. They would have almost the same amount of trading volume as Hex, and they're a fraction. I mean, like, like the size of this project is so much smaller than Hex. Let's go and give another example. Let's just use Phantom. I mean, this is just casual. I mean, why not? Phantom is like a $6 billion market cap or a $5 billion market cap or something. Let's see, FTM, World, Phantom. Okay, let's show you guys Phantom. $5.3 billion market cap, trading volume, almost $1 billion. Okay, that's a healthy trading volume. Now, it's not an amazing trading volume because it's, what is that, like 18% or 16% or something like that. That's really not that bad. I mean, it's not amazing, but it's still pretty good. So that is a metric you guys should look at, basically with liquidity versus trading volume. Because the reason this is important, we showed you guys $10 million worth of Hex. If a bunch of people try to exit, it's going to tank the price because there's not a lot of tokens to be able to hold that up. That is why that is an important metric. Because if you have a crash in price, that causes a reflexive reaction to where other people dump. Something very important to understand. Now, next is trends. Now, there are different trends in cryptocurrency. Some take off, some don't. But looking for the current narrative is one of those things like trend is your friend until the end. You can go off the trends and you can make a 1x, 2x, or not a 1x, but a 2x, 3x. Yeah, actually you can do a 1x. You don't move. But you can make a couple of x's if you want to. And sometimes when you get into it, the trend ends as soon as you buy it and you get utterly wrecked. So that is a game you can keep playing, and that's entirely up to you what you want to do. And of course, there is another option where you can try to skate where the puck is going and say, all right, look, I know decentralized storage is going to be huge. So you know what? I'm going to buy Arweave, or I'm going to buy Filecoin. Now, if someone bought Filecoin when it was like, I don't know, $200 or something like that. Yeah, almost $200. It was $187 because like, oh, it's going to be the next big thing. Well, they would basically be down only. They would be at $20, as you guys saw earlier, $22. So they would have been completely, utterly wrecked. But if they're like, okay, look, I know we're going to have a decentralized storage now. The chart is looking so much healthier. I mean, some people decide to throw some funds at it and see what happens. Altcoins and crypto projects are one of those things that you throw a bunch of darts and you make educated guesses. And if the dart hits, you hope it pays for the losers. That is the best thing to do. Now, some of you are like, I'm out of that. I don't want to throw the dart. Well, you can never hit the target if you don't throw the dart. I'm not giving financial advice, But if you make a calculated play with a calculated position size, you can actually do very well. Let me give you an example. If I pick 20 different altcoins, throw 1% of my portfolio at each and every one of them, if one of those altcoins does a 10x or a 20x, it pays for all the others. Now the others, they just have to do a 2x, a 3x, a 10x, or whatever. It doesn't even matter. And I'm in the green. I'm in profit. Now, there's a chance that all 20 of them go to zero. So that is something you have to factor in. If that happens to you, I mean, geez, you need to pick some better stuff. I'm just kidding. Just pick sharper darts. You might hit the dartboard better. Basically, just because you're bullish in narrative doesn't mean it will come to fruition. But when you get into crypto projects and you get wrecked and start playing in this stuff, you will start learning the narratives and understanding this. I remember when I used to flip the altcoins, I would make a bit on a few of them, and some of them I got completely and utterly wrecked. And I actually learned a lot of it. If you lose money in cryptocurrency, consider it the cost of tuition. This is just like when you go to college. You have to pay for that schooling. Except the difference is you pay for that schooling and you're basically in that constant debt cycle. With cryptocurrency, sure, you may lose some money, but just right around that corner, you can make it all back. That's why I really love the crypto space with the risk reward. Now, I try to teach you guys about all the mistakes that I've made in cryptocurrency so you guys can learn from them and not make those mistakes and speed up your learning curve. Now, one other thing I want to mention is this metric. Just because you see a high TVL or everyone use it doesn't necessarily mean that coin gets appreciation. It's still a metric to look at, but it doesn't mean it will get appreciation. Let's give an example of Aave. Let's go ahead and show you guys their chart. Aave is probably one of the top DeFi lending primitives that we have. And the coin, it's kind of depressing. It really doesn't do anything. I mean, its TVL is nuts and ham. It goes crazy. It does really well. Like you can go on DeFi Llama and see they're constantly ranking up on the charts. But the price of the token doesn't look so much. So it's kind of like, Same thing with Curve. Curve is the number one DeFi protocol. In fact, the Curve dominance is 8.87%. But yet, it's doo-doo squirts. Like the token price. Like, shouldn't it be back to all-time highs? I mean, it's the highest TVL it's ever had. And yet, it's down 96% or 94% with the snap. So just because you pick a coin or a project doesn't mean it's always going to come to fruition. You need to figure out what the token value capture is. Let's give an example of Terra Luna. What is the value capture? Well, as more people use UST, as in play around in their DeFi protocols, you need to burn Luna, which causes a positive price action for Luna. So right there is value capture just right in front of you. Let's give it another example. Thorchain. Now, Rune, yes, I understand they had a couple of hacks in the past, so it affected them. But as more people go on ThorSwap and provide liquidity, 50% of that is paired with Rune. So if there's a high demand to go on ThorSwap, especially people looking to earn a yield on native Bitcoin, that will bring a lot more buy pressure on the Rune price action. So then when that happens, that will cause positive price action. Or you can look at something like Frax, a fractionalized stablecoin, where every time you mint Frax, you need a portion of FXS. So that is positive buy pressure on the FXS token. So you just need to figure out what the use case is for the coin. Now, just because you have that sticking power and that sticking use case doesn't mean it will come to fruition. Let me give you an example of this. SIFchain. SIFchain is just like Thorchain, but the DEX does not get much popularity. The SIFchain DEX is amazing. Like, the protocol is easy to use. It's easy to onboard from other DEXs and chains. And if you guys haven't tried it already, just take a look at it and see how it is. But it doesn't mean it will come to fruition. Now, SIFchain does have a lot of catalysts coming up, so don't sleep on them. But just an example, their coin price, as you guys can see, it literally has not been that positive. I'll just go ahead and show you guys what it looks like. It's the Rowan token. It definitely is not the best, but they do pay some really high APRs, so that would make sense for it. And of course, you're just getting a bunch more rowing. Now, lastly, I want to talk about the team members. I didn't add this metric in, but let's use the example of Terra. Now, Terra actually has a real world use case. They actually partnered up with Chai Payments app. This is over in Korea, and this is actually allowing people to use blockchain and cryptocurrency in order to purchase goods and services. It's almost like a payment platform similar to Stripe. Now, this is an actual real world use case. One of the main team members behind Terra is Do Kwon. Now, Do Kwon, this guy was labeled Forbes 30 under 30. These are the type of people you want to get behind. You want to get behind extremely smart people. You want to invest in people, not Ponzi's. And this is what I saw with Do Kwon and the rest of the team. Now, there are other projects that are similar to this, like Cosmos with Zaki and Sunny. I'm uber bullish those two devs. And those guys are on the Cosmos ecosystem. I get behind people, not Ponzi's. That's what I look for. Frax Finance, I get behind Sam. Sam is one of the devs over there. Uber bullish on Frax and what he is doing. The guy is a forward thinker, and that's what I look for. I look for people, not Ponzi's. If you're investing in Ponzi's, just understand the type of game you're playing. If you're in there just to make a quick buck, just make sure you don't get stuck playing that game of musical chairs without the chair. It will be very upsetting and you will not be happy. If you guys want to see how I'm playing the markets and what I'm doing in the markets, you guys can join the Discord in the link in the description below. If you want to see a couple of other examples and other projects I'm looking at right now, you can also see that in the Discord. Yes, there will be a couple of fish in there, but it's not meant for you to take the fish. It's meant for you to have the fuel in order to learn how to fish. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Let's go ahead and leave you guys with a wisdom one-liner. We're in Proverbs chapter 19, verses 6. Many curry favor with the ruler, and everyone is the friend of one who gives gifts. You know what that means? Give, and everyone will love you. You guys can also catch me on tweeters at rent a home fast, like literally at rent a home fast.